Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We are broadcasting with our 50,000 watt blowtorch. And we are grateful and thankful for that upgrade. We get to reach out to so many of you. But not only are we broadcasting on our 50,000 watt blowtorch, we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at WYAB.com. If you aren't following us on X, really would appreciate a follow. It's at Andrew Gosser, ANDREWGASSER. As Clay likes to say, all gasser, no brakes. And we're definitely going to have a show like that today. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd of December, 2025. Sweepy, happy anniversary, babe. Love you so much. Yep. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. It is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? That's all of you. If you would like to be part of the show today, the number is simple. The number is 601 879 0002. And the text line is open. That number is 601 879 5060. We got a great show lined up today. We're going to talk about Gabriel Olivier and his hearing, which just begun before the U.S. Supreme Court right now. So we're lifting up Brother Gabe and his team in prayer as they make arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court. We're going to find out within the next 1 or 2 years where this country is really going to go. Are we going to follow what our forefathers gave us? Are we going to follow the republic? Or are we going to turn it into something else? Like Benjamin Franklin said, we've given you a republic if you can keep it. And there's definitely that going on today. Today, starting in exactly 1 hour and 21 minutes, is Grip and Grin over at Mama Hamill's in Madison. The governor will be the keynote speaker. So if you are so politically inclined, if you were involved in the special elections yesterday, whether your candidate won or lost, you might want to go to that and meet some people who are always thinking about these kinds of things. You know, I was reading some reports about the turnout, and my friend Marie, not even from around here, said, there's only 7.9% turnout for the supervisor's race. And when we look at the supervisor's race, it looks like the winner won by 8 votes with 31 contested ballots. I can't remember the name of not automated, but there's 31 votes left to count there. So that's insane. We've got U.S. congressmen now saying that cocaine is not a threat. We've got the audio for it, so we're going to talk about that. We've got to talk about Scott County and what's going on there. And you can see, good morning. The official program observer has checked in. So good morning to the official program observer. We appreciate you out there making sure that I got everything going well. We've got to talk about Uncle Elon and what he actually found with Doge. Club America, the Turning Point USA gathering. We actually got some audio from that meeting yesterday and a local news report. We'll talk about that and other bits and bobs as we go throughout the show. But I think the place that I truly want to start off with is the kings and the queens and how they are making decisions, proclaiming judgments, putting it out there for everybody to see. Quite frankly, it is, as a military man who appreciates psychological warfare operations, the United States is ground zero for psyops being perpetuated upon the population of the United States of America. Judge blocks ICE from making warrantless arrests in DC without flight risk approval. Now, when you read that, you're okay because American citizens have that right. Illegal immigrants do not have that right, but American citizens do. So when you look at this, you're like, what's the big deal here? They are trying to give rights of Americans to people who have not earned those rights. And this is coming from Fox News. And it's got a picture there of an ICE agent with his face covered. A federal judge on Tuesday blocked the Trump administration from making widespread immigration arrests in Washington, D.C., unless agents obtain warrants or have probable cause that the target is an imminent flight risk. That's not how ICE works. And for so many of us out there who have really taken the time to go through all this, we understand that. We understand that there are procedures. We've had officers come on this show, on this station. We've played clips of it, how ICE officers have to have build up a reason to suspect something. They just can't sit there and go out there and pull somebody. There has to be a line of facts. And by the way, ICE agents get this training all the time because they understand if they do not follow this, then things like this does happen. U.S. District Court or U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell granted a preliminary injunction requested by the ACLU and other civil liberties and immigrant rights groups in a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. And it goes through here and it whines and it complains. It tugs on the heartstrings of all these things that happen against these illegal immigrants, again, who should not be here. They are here illegally. They didn't follow the law. The more we talk about it, the more we hear about it, we understand that they are an incredible resource drag on our schools, like we've seen in Charlotte, on our hospitals, like we've seen in LA, as we've seen in our transportation, in our welfare setup. Do you know that there are still 21 states that have not verified their SNAP and EBT with the federal government yet? Anyone care to take a guess what color states those are? If you guessed the blue Democrat-controlled states, you would be right. And I don't even have this pulled up yet, but if you saw what was happening in Minnesota with their Somali population and the problem they're having there, we talked about it yesterday. It's I love this show. I love this time slot because yesterday you heard first about the $501 million that is being siphoned out of EBT, SNAP, and other federal programs just out of Minnesota, specifically to the Somali population there, and all the fraud, waste, and abuse that is there. You actually heard it here first. And then other big time streamers, mainstream news outlets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, picked that story up and they ran with it. But you heard it here first. I love that. That just means we're on the cutting edge of societal evolution and we continue to push that boundary to the max extent possible. So I go down here and I scroll down to the very last part of the story. And this is where, if you are a conservative, if you love this country, you should take a little bit of hope and solace. This ruling is similar to two other decisions in Colorado and California in cases that were also brought by the ACLU. Another judge prohibited immigration agents from targeting people based solely on factors such as their race, language, job, or location after concluding that the agents were carrying out indiscriminate stops. And you're like, well, we've been through this rodeo before. The Supreme Court lifted the restraining order in that case in September. So here we go again. Here we go again. These judges at the lower levels hindering this president, hindering this administration, hindering the executive branch from doing what they were elected to do. I've got it somewhere here in the stack of stuff. They're talking about how many Social Security numbers have been handed out to illegal aliens by the Social Security Administration, even though they haven't gone through the complete process yet. It's baffling. Meanwhile, those of us who've lived in the United States our whole life, who have paid into the system, who actually are falling onto that net, who need those things, can't get those benefits that they've rightfully paid for. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And then everybody gets so upset. We hear one story like this, and we all have those friends. They sit there, they read the headline, they read the first paragraph, and they're done. They are now the subject matter expert. Well, I read this at Fox News, or I read this at CNN, or I read this at MS Now. And the truth is that we sit there and we are great at consuming, which is a whole nother theme of today, but we are great at consuming information. We can consume anything. When we were growing up, we were told we were what we ate. So if you ate a bunch of Twinkies, you'd probably turn into a Twinkie. If you consume a bunch of left-wing media, you might be turning into a lefty. If you only consume right-wing media, you'll probably turn into somebody on the right. If you consume everything, you'll probably lean right. There are no absolutes. Well, there's one absolute. We don't need to go there right this minute. But the truth of the matter is that this story on Fox comes out and tells us what's really going to happen here. And I don't talk about this about every story, but because of how well the crackdown is going in DC, federal judge comes in and thumps it and stops it. Meanwhile, right now at the Supreme Court, we've got Brother Gabe. And I just want to let Gabe speak in his own words.
My name's Gabe Olivier, and I'm a client of First Liberty. I'm also a street preacher right here in central Mississippi. And I want to tell you all very briefly the story of what happened right here on the sidewalk that I'm standing on. About 5 years ago, we would regularly come out here. As you can see, there's a concert arena right up the hill. We would come out here to preach the gospel to folks, to hand out gospel literature, to hold signs just like this one, telling people that Jesus Christ saves from sin. The city of Brandon decided to pass an ordinance saying that we were not allowed to continue to do such things, and suggested that I would have to go 100 yards down this sidewalk to a designated protest area where I would not be able to have the freedom to do what we were here to do on public sidewalks. We ended up coming out here one day, and the police chief of Brandon came down and ordered us to go down to the protest area, and I began to ask him some legal questions about why that was and why my rights were being restricted, and that very quickly ended up in my arrest. And so I was charged with a violation of the city ordinance. But the Lord has opened up a door for us to be able to challenge this in court. And so now we're going to be going to the Supreme Court to see whether I am entitled to my due process, my day in court, to have my civil lawsuit heard here against Brandon, Mississippi. So we're very thankful for an opportunity for that, and ask that you would pray for us as we go to the Supreme Court on December 3rd.
Amen to that. Brother Gabe, we are lifting you up in prayer. I know our family has been doing it for the past, since we really heard when the date was and everything. But think about that. You can have the LGBTQ Islamic army shut down Times Square, but you can't have a street preacher in the Bible Belt. Not in the way blocking traffic into the amphitheater. You look at where it's at. You can't do that, but you can shut down Times Square. We are living in a bizarro world right now, and people are just screaming out, trying to help. They're screaming out, trying to get involved and turn this thing around. Will we listen? I don't know. But what I do know is that I need to take my first commercial break. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Getting a new prescription filled in your eyeglasses may not get rid of your headaches. It may not be the prescription at all. If your eyeglasses are not custom fit and properly adjusted to you, that could be the source of your headaches. At Eye Gear Optical, we verify the prescription in your lenses and the custom fitting of your frames to ensure you have the most comfortable and visually accurate eyeglasses every time. We fit eyeglasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl and eyegearoptical.com.
Doctor, the AC doctor, what's your diagnosis? My whole house was hot as a fever. Now my house is frozen, cause my air conditioning's on. Doctor, my AC's broken. Doctor, the AC doctor, he healed my house, bless my soul.
The AC Doctors is your one-stop provider for air conditioning and heating installation, service, and repair. Contact us for money-saving repairs and lower energy bills.
Doctor, the AC doctor, he healed my house, bless my soul.
Google the AC Doctors and get some relief today. TheACDR.com.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to fit your budget. Stop by Pops Auto Sales today, where fair prices and superior service leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Or go to popsautosales.llc.com and browse our inventory and get pre-approved for zero-down financing with approved credit, with service contracts and warranties available. And guys, our truck inventory is one of the largest for any independent dealer, period. Pops Auto Sales, Highway 49 in Florence.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at EliteRoofer.com.
Yeah, you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I got so many friends who are tuning in and listening. I was getting my hair cut yesterday at the greatest barbershop, the smallest, greatest barbershop in Mississippi, right there in Terry. And it was shocking to me how many people like, hey, I know your voice. I'm like, yeah, I'm on WYB. And they're like, we listen to you. And it's really humbling. I found out my neighbors, I know them, but we really don't talk. Our properties are spaced apart out there. And they listen to me. And it's really great because when you're fellowshipping with people who are like-minded, you just never know where that's going to lead, whether it's going to lead into a new opportunity, potentially a new job, new friendship, new direction in life. But we had the opportunity last week to celebrate Miss Lori's birthday with Brother Shane and Miss Carlin and my wife. And, she's from Arizona listening. And she's out there listening. So, Mom, thanks for listening. I appreciate that. But now we're going to jump right back into the kings and queens who are running this country. They wear black robes. They are the justices. And I was telling y'all, this is a psychological battle. This is psychological warfare, and I'm going to prove it. This is coming from Democracy Forward. And the headline reads, Trump loses 93% of cases in court. We know because we sue Trump and win. Before you read, our work continues. Please give us money. Well, I'm not going to give you money, but I am going to use your work. And I want to go through this. And it might take the next 6 minutes, 7 minutes, but I really want to go through this because when you see what happens at the very end, we're going to point out this pattern. We're going to point out this pattern. And it's one of those things where what recourse do we as citizens have? What recourse do we have to go back out there and make sure that we can go and correct these people because they are making us live in a lie? The Trump administration's Supreme Court's loss over sloppy attempt to end the DACA program is a familiar experience for this administration. According to the Institute for Policy Integrity, the Trump administration has failed nearly 93% of the time when its agency's actions are being challenged in court. So they go through here and they start lining it up, loss after loss after loss. They point out COVID-19, challenging the State Department's unlawful public charge policy change, demanding an investigation into HUD. Our APA wing column also includes school nutrition standards, equal pay, teen pregnancy prevention, refusal of care rule, e-cigarette regulation. It goes on and on and on. And then you go and you find out the truth. This is coming from Truth Out. And it might not be the biggest source to y'all, but I've gone back and validated these because I wanted to make sure, because I don't see anybody else writing or talking about this. The Supreme Court of the United States has given Trump favorable rulings in over 90% of cases, report finds. So what democracy, what's this trash called again? Democracy Forward. So what Democracy Forward is saying, they have won a bunch of cases in lower court. But when it gets up to the Supreme Court, it gets overturned at over a 90% rate. And this does not include anything that happened in November. They just went up to October. There were still things coming out. And I'm actually greatly grateful for that, because this number will actually be higher. Let's get into it. A new report on rulings from judges at different levels of the judicial branch indicates that the Trump administration receives more favorable rulings from the Supreme Court than it does from a district or a circuit court, indicating a bipartisan fight for the rule of law at the lower courts and a more ideological driven outcome at the higher levels. I disagree with that. I think it's written backwards. You've got the ideologues, the liberals at the lower courts going ahead and making all these outrageous and outlandish rulings. And then at the top, they are just following the Constitution as it was printed, as the founding fathers meant for it to be interpreted. And there we go. The report from Court Accountability, an organization that works to combat corruptive abuse of government power and support movements advancing and thriving a quote-unquote democratic future, examined hundreds of cases dealing with the Trump administration. Now, you notice this is not right-wing propaganda. This is the left admitting to themselves that when they get to the Supreme Court of the land, Trump wins. Conservatism wins. Oh, and I did see one tweet that said it's actually closer to 94% of the time where the Trump administration is winning in the Supreme Court. It makes you, and we think about these judges at the lower courts that are making these decisions. They're the ones who are putting all the J6ers in jail, all the outrageousness that happened with them, all these outrageous environmental issues and laws where they are literally writing law from the bench, judicial activism. They're not supposed to do that, but yet they are. And this whole article continues to say, not talk about pro-Constitution, pro-rule of law. It goes to talk about the two sides. It tries to rip this country apart. It does. But even in their best attempts to whine, moan, and complain, we have to acknowledge the fact that our Supreme Court is kicking all of these issues back down to the lower courts and saying, no, you're wrong. You have to follow the rule of law. And the rule of law clearly states, I mean, it is black and white. People who are here in this country illegally, who didn't follow the rules, do not get the same protections as those that do. I have a lot of neighbors, and again, we're kind of spread out, but I have a lot of neighbors who have immigrated to this country legally, who have absolutely no fear of ICE. And you know what? They're Hispanic. They speak Spanish better than they speak English. They're great people. They're great neighbors. And you drive by their house, and what they got? They got the Trump flag there with the Trump with the Photoshop bicep bulging out, and they are true Trump fans. They went to get to this country the right way, quite frankly, the very tough way. And then they see everybody jumping the line and pushing them to the back, where now they're like, we're paying taxes so that these others can't, and then they can get into the country and take advantage of all these benefits that we work so hard to get in the first place. I think this is going to be a continued battle over the next 4 to 6 years, in perpetuity, actually. But we have a real good chance to make some real change moving forward in 2026 and 2028. We got to talk about the local elections, but sometimes we do have to sit down and just talk about these crazy judges because they are out of control. I got a text here from Brother Rick. He goes, "So you're telling me that people can super glue themselves to a highway and shut down everything, and that's legal, but for a man who has to go to a designated area to preach, okay?" And he follows on by saying, "Most of us can't afford to go to the Supreme Court. So 94% of the time we have to settle for wrongful, unlawful decisions." That's basically what you just said. No, I said 94% of the time that those decisions get up to the Supreme Court, they go our way. But what's unfortunate is at these lower courts, they are just they're not even hiding it. Remember we had that picture of that female judge in Jackson, Mississippi, who had the Nancy Pelosi thing on? I mean, we live in a very polarized society right now. And whether you want to blame the mainstream media, which we do, whether you want to blame social media, which we can, there is a serious divide on how this all works. And some people say it's because of the economics, between the haves and the haves not. Some people say it's between the politicians and everybody else, which I've been saying since I got out of the military in 2011. It's the political class against the rest of us. And if you can get into that political class, you're going to be all right. I went a little bit long, so we are going to take our second commercial break. We will be right back.
.1039 WYAB.
Fox News commentary with Jimmy Fallon next.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Jimmy Fallon.
There's a lot of concern about the economy. Yeah, the prices are still high. They are. Okay. And the reality is the prices got that high under Joe Biden. But understand, at the midterms, people aren't going to vote for Trump because Biden jacked up prices. If Trump's the guy in office, Trump is the guy getting the bill. So it does need to be focused on. I'm not here to tell you they're throwing a perfect game, but I am here to tell you they are the one side prioritizing America. While the other side, every time I turned on a TV, explaining why the guy who shot 2 National Guardsmen had it hard and he was dealing with some economic struggles you don't understand. And he shot 2 National Guardsmen. Don't you want to live in a world where there's more concern for the troops getting shot than the people shooting them? Don't you want to live in a world where there's more energy put into defending our kids than the rights of the drug trafficker sailing through the Caribbean on a speedboat in the middle of the night loaded with fentanyl?
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
If you've had an accident, remember Clinton Body Shop. We work for you, not your insurance company. Don't be misled by someone telling you that you will have to pay more than your deductible. Our shops hold multiple certifications from the makers of today's vehicles. We are the longest running ICAR Gold Class certified repair facility in Mississippi. We know how to repair your vehicle, and we will work with your insurance company on your behalf. In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Business owners, tired of drowning in payroll, compliance, and back office headaches? P-Police has your back. P-Police can free you from the never-ending grind of employee administration, such as time and attendance, onboarding, background checks, even business insurance. While you focus on growing your business, P-Police handles the paperwork. Stop stressing and start succeeding. Partner with P-Police, locally based in Ridgeland. Visit ppolice.com and get back to business.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese April from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Some of the best parts about being home for the holidays are sharing stories, sharing gifts, and sharing a slice of pizza you crave the most. Like the classic Pizza Kitchen from Johnny's Pizza House, topped with 11 legendary ingredients. It's the main course on everyone's wish list. Need a gift for that hard to buy person in your life? Get them a Johnny's Pizza House gift card and go from good friend to best friend. They may even end up sharing it with you. Share a slice of home this holiday season with Johnny's Pizza House.
Let's do this. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We are moving and grooving, rocking and rolling. You know, those judge cases are really important. We need to make sure that we continue to be winning there at the Supreme Court level. We need to be winning at the lower level too. And that's why it's so important that President Trump has all of his nominees put into place. And so when we have a Republican-controlled Senate and we don't even have all of Trump's cabinet approved after the first year, it makes you kind of wonder what's happening. But with that, I am turning to my man, Kingfish, Jackson Jambalaya. Sometimes he is incredibly verbose and really breaks stuff down, and sometimes he is so succinct. It's great. You can just go there and get the information, and then we can talk about it. If you want to be part of the show, by the way, the number is 601-879-0002. Text line is 601-879-5060. Appreciate all that. It says right here. So we had a couple runoffs. You had Kamisha Mumford at 56%, Letitia Johnson at 44%. That was a pretty big discrepancy there. 3,711 votes to 2,922 votes. So that is definitely a pretty solid win. Hines County Coroner, I was able to vote in that election. Jeremiah Howard, 58%. Miss Stephanie Meacham, 42%. Again, a really big separation there in between the two. Rankin County Justice Court Judge District number 3. We talked about that yesterday. You don't have to be a lawyer or have a degree in law. You just got to go to a course and go with continuing education, and you can be a part of that. Mr. Adams Woods at 70%. Miss Tamara Bowie, 30%. I think Clay Edwards can take a little bit of a victory lap in that. Clay, you get better, brother. Get better. We miss you. We know you're flying under the weather right now. Get better so we can have you back. Looking forward to some more championships. Hearing about that. But here's the big one that I want to talk about. Rankin County Supervisor District number 2. Phil Scoggin. I hope I said his name right. Phil Scoggin. 50.1%. Mr. Darrell Palmer. 49.9%. Woo! That's close, man. 929 to 921. And I know brother Daryl was out there working. I know brother Phil was out there working. Man, that is a close race. And frankly, I'm grateful that both sides were out there. Both sides were flooding my Facebook feed. Um, both sides were out there having their constituents call into the show, call into other shows, trying to get the word out. But I was looking at a statistic. I think it was 7.9% of everybody who could have voted in District 2 actually voted. And with that, that's going to be the next county supervisor in Rankin County for District 2. If you're not familiar with District 2, it's just basically Northwest Rankin. Kind of runs along the res up there. And they had their special election, and there he was. And I don't know if there's a recount. Between 8 votes. I haven't seen anything on any of the other stations or news outlets saying that it's been officially called. But as of right now, and how I'm looking at it, Mr. Phil Scoggin will be your next county supervisor in District Number 2. And Mr. Daryl Palmer got 921 votes. They both ran good campaigns, and we move on from there. But you might be saying, Andy, it's just a county supervisor race. What's the big deal? From WLBT, a little too much, too fast. Scott County Board of Supervisor repeals new ordinances after public outrage. Remember, I tell you this, that's why I am so grateful and thankful to be behind this microphone, that I can go out there and point out examples to you all, not just in the local greater Jackson area, but all across Mississippi. A little too much, too fast. Scott County, Mississippi. The citizens of Scott County voiced their opinion on a slew of new ordinances originally passed last month. 4 ordinances approved by the Scott County Board of Supervisors included requiring mobile homes to have skirting installed around the base within 60 days of being placed and adding additional permit fees, stricter regulations for junk dealers and junkyards, building permit fees, and requirements for residential commercial construction. RVs and tiny homes placed on property in the county must either be there for fewer than 100 days, 120 consecutive days per year, with an exception for the hunting season use. Over 300 people attended that county board meeting. This is why your local elections matter so much, because if you are not careful, they're going to start doing stuff like this. And this is just the most recent county that's tried to put limits on what people can do with their personal property. Now, me personally, no one wants to see somebody with a junky front yard. And I know that some points during the lambing season, my front yard looks pretty crusty. But we get it cleaned up and we move on. But people want to have their mobile homes. They want to use their property the way they want to do it. And we have people who get elected who say, oh, this is a great idea. And it might be a great idea, but they don't go to the people first. And the next thing you know, a bunch of these ordinances are passed and everybody has a big commotion. We have a big giant meeting like this. It makes the news. Nobody's happy about it. Well, the citizens are happy and they end up getting overturned. It says one by one, people spoke out against the new laws, including Scott County resident Angela Sills. And she said that they did too much. They did a little too much too fast and just going to have to slow down and let us voters know what's going on before they start passing these laws. During the meeting, the board announced that a public hearing would take place on December 15th. Hours later, the board repealed all new laws and ordinances, canceling the public meeting. I don't know how that works with the Open Rules Act. I don't know if you can just cancel a meeting like that. But this is Mississippi, and to be truthful, I do not know the Mississippi Open Meetings Act, as well as maybe I should or I could. I'm not elected, so I haven't looked into that. I do know that if I want to speak at a school board meeting, I've got to have my comments presented to the school board 5 days before so that they can have proper answers or completely ignore what I'm saying altogether. The Scott County Board Attorney, Roy Noble Lee Jr., says that the board did not have permission to pass the ordinances without a public hearing because all of them were unanimously approved. However, he said it was not the board's intent to restrict the people's property rights. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why it's important you vote for your county supervisors. That's why it's important you vote for your county clerks. That's why it's important that you vote for your election commissioners and everybody else locally. Because if you don't, something like this could happen. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
WYAB. Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
It can be hard to move past the guilt, times of weakness and regret, knowing you weren't there for your family when they needed you the most. But there is life after addiction. We're seeing broken families restored, one man at a time, through our vehicle, cash, and thrift store donations. It's given Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge the ability to help these men succeed in having better lives. Donate a vehicle, running or not, and we'll come pick it up. Call today, 601-572-7296, or visit us at vehicledonationsms.com.
This is Lori at the Mailroom Gluckstadt with exciting news. We now offer photo services and large format printing, such as banners, yard signs, blueprints, and canvas prints. We also print business cards, invitations, photos, and more. And with the holidays coming fast, let us print your Christmas cards. Many projects may be ready the same day, and the Mailroom Gluckstadt is still your place for shipping, drop-offs, and gift wrapping. Visit us at photos and more. And with the holidays coming fast, let us print your Christmas cards. Many projects may be ready the same day, and the Mailroom Gluckstadt is still your place for shipping, drop-offs, and gift wrapping. Visit us at photos and more. And with the holidays coming fast, let us.
Working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Tri-County Tree Service, the Jackson Metro's premier company to handle all of your tree service needs. Russ Borland and his team specialize in large tree, low-impact removal. Tri-County Tree Service has the right equipment to safely handle the most technical trim jobs or tree removals. Storm damage can happen year-round, so let them clean it up and they'll deal with your insurance claim. Tri-County Tree Service, by phone at 601-TREE-GUY or online at tricotreeservice.com. That's tricotreeservice.com.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
I am Wayne Lloyd, Delta Farm Services, LLC. We do all types of dirt work, excavation, dozer work, land leveling. We do building pads, commercial ponds and lakes, residential ponds and lakes, anything with dirt work. Delta Farm Services, LLC.
Google Delta Farm Services, LLC, or find them on Facebook. Delta Farm Services, LLC.
A reminder from Dr. Bobby C. Pankey at Optical 2000. Have you met your vision insurance deductible, or do you have a use it or lose it plan? You still have time to schedule an end-of-the-year eye exam at Optical 2000. Dr. Bobby C. Pankey and Associates in Clinton and Richland. To set up your end-of-the-year eye exam, click to call a clinic near you at optical-2000.com. Optical 2000, Dr. Bobby C. Pankey and Associates in Clinton and Richland.
Where does the time go, ladies and gentlemen? Where does the time go? It just seems minutes ago, the intro music kicked in, the record scratched, the music started playing. We were talking about such important events, like Brother Gabe having his case heard before the U.S. Supreme Court, where we're talking about all the craziness of the Supreme Court and local elections. And now the hour is almost over. There is so much more to talk to. I am really excited to talk about what's happening down in Gulfport, because Turning Point USA is going to have a battle there. And yesterday when I read that, I just got the little bits and bobs of it. I didn't realize that the news station out there actually had a whole 2-minute segment on it. So we're going to break it down. And we're going to talk about that. You know, yesterday I played arguably my favorite clip from Charlie Kirk, where he talks about the humble beginnings of the United States of America and where we draft our laws and rules from, where our culture is derived from, where some people want to get rid of our culture and where other people definitely want to have it turned into something that it's not. We'll get it fixed, but that's what's going to be in the next hour. You know, we are only given so much time in the day to go do things. And so many of us want to go ahead and be a part of the system, the political system. Well, if you want to do that, today's your day. First Wednesday of every month, Mama Hamels, Bruce Bartlett, Grip and Grin. You still got time to get down there. I will not be there. I will be on the air. But you can go down there and talk to Bruce. The governor's going to be there today. And a lot of great people. Today is also my sweet bee's birthday, or not my sweet bee's birthday, but our anniversary. And we're looking forward to that. We're going to have a great night. We're going to have a night out on the town and just celebrate our time together. It's really special. A lot of times we take for granted things like anniversaries, but not me. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB. Pocahontas, Jackson.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. New federal immigration enforcement efforts getting underway in Minnesota's Twin Cities and already unfolding in New Orleans, where we find CBS's Katie Weiss.
Customs and Border Patrol says that their goal is to arrest people who have been allowed back on the streets after getting arrested previously for some kind of crime. However, we know from seeing in Charlotte that that's not always the case, that sometimes other people who have not been accused or convicted of any crimes have been caught in the middle.
From Washington, CBS's Scott McFarland reports President Trump says he's granted a full pardon to a Democrat, Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas, and his wife. They were charged with bribery and conspiracy. Trump says they were punished for being critics of Biden border policy.
Pardons are typically for people who've already been convicted in their cases, made some restitution, acknowledged their guilt, tried to make atonement for it. Henry Cuellar hadn't even gone on trial yet. I mean, typically that's for a jury to decide whether somebody should be absolved or found guilty. In this case, the president has pardoned Henry Cuellar before the case even went to a jury.
The admiral involved in the controversial second strike attack in the Caribbean is due to face lawmakers tomorrow. CBS's Nancy Cordes says the president and defense secretary have defended him.
There are members of Congress from both sides who say that they are skeptical
typical of the administration's shifting storyline on these strikes. Remember that on Sunday, President Trump said there wasn't a second strike as far as he knew. And then less than 24 hours later, the White House was saying actually that there was. You had the Pentagon spokesperson saying that the entire narrative here, first reported by the Washington Post, was false, but then the White House confirmed a great deal of that narrative.
Overseas, Russia says talks will continue on ending the war in Ukraine. NATO foreign ministers are meeting in Brussels. Secretary General Mark Rutte.
We cannot waver in our commitment to Ukraine. Every single day, Russian missiles and drones cause death and destruction, leaving civilians without heat, light, and water as winter approaches.
On the Health Watch, CBS's Michael Wallace tells us the FDA is investigating whether some glucose monitor errors contributed to 7 deaths and hundreds of injuries.
Abbott Diabetes Care says it found malfunctioning sensors in some of its Freestyle Libre 3 and 3 Plus monitors, which may have given incorrect low glucose readings. Those low readings could have led users to skip or delay their insulin doses, posing serious health risks. Abbott says about 3 million monitors may have the faulty sensors. Half of those devices have likely expired or been used.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 230 points. The NASDAQ is 8 points lower. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-718-4040. That's 800-718-4040. 800-718.
News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
And with that, he begins a new life in the big house. No rain today. It's mostly sunny and 57. But tonight, the rain is back. It's a 50% chance with a low at 39. By tomorrow, it's rain all day. An 80% chance with a high at 52. And rain continues Thursday night, Friday, and possibly into Saturday. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. At first, it was a 50-year sentence for Timothy Harrington. Then the judge suspended 10 years, so he will serve 40 years in prison, 30 for the second-degree murder of Ole Miss student Jimmy J. Lee of Jackson in the summer of 22, then another 10 for hiding Lee's body, which was discovered this year in Carroll County. Lane Kiffin is now with his new employer, and today his replacement as head coach of the Rebels is being formally introduced. Pete Golding has been at Ole Miss for 2 years and has been the defensive coordinator. His new position will be his first anywhere as head coach, and it just happens to be leading the Rebels in the college football playoffs. His introduction press conference is being carried by the SEC Network and on the ESPN app. Work on the Reunion Parkway project will have lanes of I-55 shut down tonight in Madison County. MDOT says that'll be between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. on the right lanes on either side of the interstate. That work is expected to be wrapped up by tomorrow morning. One of the state's largest Christmas parades will be this Saturday at 6 p.m. on Capitol Street in downtown Jackson. And a man who fought for civil rights in Mississippi in the 1960s will be the Grand Marshal. That's Dr. Robert Smith, who is a medical doctor and a graduate of Tougaloo. If you can't make the parade, maybe you can make the Christmas tree lighting, which will be Friday at 4 at Jackson City Hall. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on the 50,000 watt blowtorch that is 103.9 WYAB. It is the 3rd of December, 2025. It is the Sweet Bee and Sponge's 25th anniversary. And we are happy to be here today. Let me tell you, we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming at WYAB.com. So if for some reason you can't pick up the radio signal, you can find us anywhere. I'd sincerely appreciate a follow on X. And also, if you're listening online, follow my socials, whether it be Rumble, YouTube, or X. And you can follow me at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. The mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. We're always planting seeds. Somebody else may be doing the watering, but it's God that causes the increase, and we live by that daily. Before we get into the turning point situation in Gulfport, we know that we've had a turning point situation here in Clinton, and I genuinely believe that by next year, the Club America situation will resolve itself out. I'm just absolutely shocked. I'm getting all these reports about Brother Gabe and having his case heard before the U.S. Supreme Court. 11 articles all talking about it, whether it be the Washington Times, the Hill, the Epoch Times. This is CNN. USA Today, Worthy Christian News, Focus on the Family, Local News Live, and the Lancaster Patriot are all talking about this case. It's a pretty big deal. The case raises a split that could resolve whether a convicted person may challenge a local protest rule in federal court, with Justice Clarence urging re-examination, and our favorite Supreme Court Justice, Associate Supreme Court Justice, you know that's right. Should I play her music? Nah. It's Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson cautioning against it. Better not give Brother Gabe his day in court. Someone might get saved or get their lives turned around. We wouldn't want that. But what I'm really focused in on is what happened in Gulfport. And I got to read the article, but I didn't get to see any of the actual news coverage. And I think it's important that we hear it, because I feel that it will add some context to it, and we can dive deeper into it a little bit more. I'm going to play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Controversy at tonight's Gulfport School Board meeting, as one student is petitioning to start a club that opponents deem divisive.
It was standing room only at the Gulfport School District meeting. Community members and leaders flocked to hear the discussion over whether or not students at Gulfport High School should be allowed to open a chapter of Club America. Club America is a product of Turning Point USA. According to Turning Point, Club America is an opportunity for high school students to learn about American exceptionalism, the importance of constitutional rights, and standing for freedom.
Well, I've always had a very strong pull for talking about government and the market and Christian values. And ever since Charlie Kirk's unfortunate passing, that I decided that really something needs to be said, since his voice is no longer heard.
Her and her mother took the issue to the school board to hear the case. Many attended the meeting to speak out against the club, citing Turning Point and its founder, Charlie Kirk, as problematic and divisive.
And Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, I really believe he had some good ideas, but he also had some very bad ideas.
But it's just Club America and Turning Point USA is so divisive. It's so anti-everything that it has no place in the Gulfport School District. It has no place in any school district, in my opinion. It's using kids in a war, and they have no idea they're being used.
The speakers pointed to comments Kirk had made regarding the Civil Rights Act, Martin Luther King, and George Floyd.
that truly is not what this club is about. And we are looking for a strong community of Christians and just everyone that wants to be involved and to learn about God and about our government. And I really want people to know that this is not about hate, and we do not hate anyone. Charlie Kirk is right when he says that when we stop talking, that is when violence starts. And that is why this club is so important, that we can talk. And that is why we needed to be a part of Gulfport High School.
50 and that right there is one heck of a story. Now, there were some adults who said that they didn't like some of the controversial comments on it. So what I'm asking for, and I hope I can get them, is the clips of Charlie saying something controversial. I will play them, and we will debate them. I think that's absolutely critical. You know, this Charlie Kirk thing, I feel, is going to be one of those things that in 10, 15, 20 years from now, that it's truly going to be, quote unquote, a turning point. Now, I do have one of my friends who is an incredible atheist and doesn't want God anywhere in the classroom. I would just refer him to Section 18 of the Mississippi Constitution. We read it yesterday. I'll just read the last sentence of it. The rights hereby secured shall not be construed in justified acts of injurious to morale or dangerous to the peace and safety of the state, or to exclude the Holy Bible from its use in any public school of this state. I was looking at some of the people there, very fine looking people. And you can do good and not be a Christian. That's totally true. People go through like, I did great things, I'm gonna be all right. Well, let's talk about that. But the fact that they are fighting Turning Point USA to start these Club America groups, these Turning Point groups in our high schools is frightening. Because when people start attending them, they start finding out the truth. They actually read. They don't get on TikTok and get the 30-second dopamine hit, which is what everybody wants these days. Everybody just wants to get on the radio, get on TikTok or Instagram, have their 15 seconds of fame and move on, not thinking about the serious consequences and repercussions of what they're actually advocating for. The summer of 2020, when history looks back on that, they're going to wonder what we were all on. With the facts that have come out now about George Floyd actually passing fake currency on drugs with a heart condition, these are all things that we can pull up the whole medical report and look at it. But it just goes to show you how powerful pictures and images are, and how if we can take them out of context, you can truly inflame a nation. I'll never forget the pictures of CNN going live from the fiery but mostly peaceful protests in Kenosha. When we look at the culture that tells us that we shouldn't respect the police, from the culture that glamorizes drugs and ladies not being ladies. The barbershop's always a great place. You get to hear and listen to things. And we were just talking yesterday about how, even our young girls now, you see more and more of them. There always used to be like an equal divide, like a bell curve. The majority of them, it's almost like a reverse bell curve now. You've got those that are very conservative and realize their worth. And they got other ones that are just going out there living in the world. And we have to figure out how to recapture our youth and get them going back down the same path so that they can have the same hopes and dreams, opportunity and experience that we did, whether you're a boomer, a Gen Xer, or a early millennial. The mid to late millennials, along with the Zoomers, they're struggling. And when you talk to them, they all have a great sense of faith, but they don't trust a lot of what's going on inside our government. Let's go ahead and take a phone call. Let's see. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Good morning.
20 votes in supervisor race was the margin of victory.
Was that the final?
20, yeah, that was fine. That's what I got. I pulled it up last night and looked at it, and it said 100% reporting, and it was 20 votes between the winner, Mr. Scoggins, and Mr. Palmer. And I'm going to tell you what, that boy spent some money on the radio. I'm going to tell you, it's, you talk about grassroots. Scoggins out there knocking on doors. And I don't know what Palmer was doing, but I know one thing: he was writing some big checks being on the radio. I know that. So I was glad of that.
Did you go out and go door knocking for him?
No, actually, I just basically called your radio show. That was a lot of doors right there.
You would be surprised how many people from Rankin County called me up and saying I was voting this way or I was voting that way. And it was nice to know that people actually were listening to this and starting to get plugged in to the local system. But how do you feel? Because I just used WLBT numbers and Kingfish numbers, and both of them said it was 8 votes at the time. So if you say it's 20, it's 20. How do you think Mr. Scoggins is going to vote going in? You get to hear what I said about Scott County, right?
Yes, I did. I was listening to that, and it's interesting. But I have walked a few paths in my day, and I have generally been a pretty good judge of character. And a lot of times, it basically comes down to that, And where do you make your decisions from? In other words, where is your barometer? And if your barometer is Scripture, and your beliefs are based in Jesus Christ, I think you're going to make the right decision, regardless of what the politically correct decision is. And that's what I'm looking forward to, Mr. Scoggins. So,
and I think it'll be a lot easier to get a hold of Mr. Scoggins than it would be to say get a hold of a state or a U.S. senator or a U.S. congressman.
Oh, no doubt. Let me get some clarification. This situation in Gulfport, this is just like a club, right? In other words, people don't have to join it. It's just an opportunity, right?
Correct.
So what the friend? What's the problem, man? This just, people have a choice. You're going to deny them a choice? I mean, I can remember now. This is dating myself. There were groups and clubs you could join. When I was in high school, we had a gun club, and everybody brought a weapon that their grandfather or their father had passed down to them. And we all got in the bed of a pickup truck in the parking lot, took a picture, and it was in the annual.
That's incredible.
I mean, and nobody thought twice about it because it was a heritage. You still had gun racks in the back of your truck. And now we're getting mad because somebody wants to sit around and talk about something that might be offensive.
Isn't that we're turning into a weak culture?
Oh, you're not kidding, man. I tell you what, I bet those boys that charged the beaches in Normandy were offended by those Germans too. What do you think?
I think they might have been offended, but they were angry and took action. And I can't say that our kids are being brought up in a way that if they had to face those kinds of same circumstances, they would act the same way,
Oh, I don't know. I just, I'd be very interested. I tell my students all the time, I said, the Chinese came marching down your street, you walk out in the house with your hands in the air. This old man just wants to have an opportunity to die behind his weapon. So, I certainly hope they would behave differently. But little snow, little rain, all of a sudden they want to stay at home. I'm thinking, not a lot of tough endurance reflected in that behavior. But anyway, I was pleased with the vote. Glad it turned out the way it did, and I enjoy your show,
brother. Thank you, and I'm glad that you tune in. And look, we have diverse opinions here on this show. Anybody who says that Andy doesn't take callers who disagree with him. That is a complete falsehood. There are people who get together, we agree on some things, we disagree on others, but in the end, we're still all Mississippians at the end of the day. We're all still fighting for a greater good. And dude, I am so glad you're out there. We're going to take our first break of the second hour. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB.
Forum box office in Memphis.
We are back at the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. And this segment is brought to you by my man, Bruce Bennett, over at iGear Optical. Look, it is important that you have glasses that not only fit right, but are doing the job that they're meant to do. And when it's time for you to get a new set of glasses, take your prescription and go over to see my man, Bruce, located at 2630 Highway 80 right here in Pearl. Local, not a big box shop. You get that personalized experience. They're open from Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Saturdays, they're open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can find them online at iGearOptical.com. That's iGearOptical.com. Brother Bruce, I am so grateful and thankful that you sponsored the show. You've been a longtime partner here at WYAB, partner of my show, and we just really appreciate you. iGear Optical. Go get yourself a new set of glasses. You'll be thankful you did. Look, we were talking about Turning Point USA, and then my man called in and talked about Rankin County Board of Supervisors race. 20 votes separated that. I guess they counted all the absentees and all the vote by affidavit votes, and that's what the ultimate vote came out to be. And we've got to respect that, whether you're for it or not. That's our guy, man. So I hope Mr. Scoggins, if he wants to come on the show, that would be awesome. We'd love to hear his point of view as well, and definitely want to do that. But I want to get back to this Turning Point Club thing because this is something that is the new line of attack, and I guess it's an old line of attack that's been used by the left and perhaps even some on the right too, but where they just say he's made some outlandish statements or he said something that wasn't good about the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act. And that right there, just everybody hears the title and immediately, oh, that's not good. I don't want to get involved with that. And we immediately go away. You know, that's what makes like a firefighter special or a paramedic special, a police officer special. It's what makes a soldier special. You know, when they see danger, when they sense danger, they don't run away from it. They charge it. And that's exactly what Charlie did. He would go onto campuses that absolutely hated him, and he would have meaningful discussions with them. And what we have here, in my opinion, are a bunch of people who have never sat down and listened to Charlie. We get our commanding or our marching orders from higher headquarters and this person bad, so out we go. And look, this isn't just on the left with Charlie. This could be on the right with whoever. It works both ways. But I'm telling you, Club America should be in every high school. And we should talk about the Civil Rights Act and what it did good and some of the unintended consequences of it. We should talk about the Voting Rights Act and the good that came of it and some of the unintended consequences of that. We should talk about the outstanding performance of our state troopers on the highways, of the police officers and the great things they do. And when bad things happen, we talk about that too. And whenever you hear somebody saying, no, I don't want to hear about that, look, we are working on this. And it's probably been 2 months in the making, and it's still got a ways to go, but we're going to start rolling it back. We have to have real conversations in this country about things we thought we would never have to worry about. If we go back to our presidents back in the 80s and 90s, you know, we never worried about terrorism here in America. We never thought that 9/11 would happen, and we never thought we'd be invaded. Yet in 2025, here we are. And What's sad is we know that strong men make good times, and good times make weak men, and weak men make hard times, and hard times make strong men. Where are we at in that cycle right now? It just seems to me that all the strong men are timing out, or they're at the age where they can't go ahead and lead like they once used to. And we're going to have some hard times. You know, the sweet bee and I, we were talking about our garden for next year, and how we want to be so much more sufficient and not worrying about going to buy stuff in a grocery store. Just go back to the 50s and 60s. We didn't have Walmart. We didn't have DoorDash. We didn't have transportation like we do today. Why is it so difficult? What I do know is that we absolutely need to get back to teaching the Constitution, what our founding fathers actually said about certain subjects. And they not only need to be taught in school, but we need to get beyond just recalling information. We have to go to the application, right? It's not enough just to simply recite the answer, which is what we're doing right now. You've got recall and then you've got application. And in the military, we always taught to the application level. Not only did you have to do the math, but then you had to apply the answer that you got to run your intercept or to calculate the fall of the bomb or calculate the explosion desired. And yes, you had to figure that all out on paper before you could go pop it into the computer, because the computer could make it just like that. But our instructors, just like our teachers, should expect us to understand why things happen, and we don't get that right now. And some of us who take the time to teach our kids things that are outside of what the cultural norm is, we don't see that problem. We just go along, kind of have the blinders on our eyes, and we don't see anything wrong with it. But meanwhile, when we look around, you have hundreds of kids, thousands of kids who are screaming for information, but can't get out of their TikTok scrolling doom loop that the algorithm has put them into. I'm getting some text from Gabriel Olivier. He's about ready to text me back. You know what? We're gonna go to a quick break here, and when we get back, I'm gonna see what exactly Brother Gabe said and give an update on that. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Hey, listening team. I just want to let you know I turned the camera off for that last segment. Sometimes my leg just goes all crazy and I have to stand up, and I didn't feel like readjusting the camera and doing all of that kind of stuff. So I just turn off the camera and do the show standing up. But hopefully we'll be back. After this commercial break, we'll be back to the camera and everything working right.
Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed
Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It's really cool when Brother Gabe texts in from Washington, D.C., right outside the Supreme Court. And I just let him know we were praying for him, talked about him, and he said the argument's all complete, seemed to went well. I really didn't ask him any more questions. But how cool is it that, again, Mississippi leads the way? I've got some stories I absolutely have to get to. Here we go. 5 months into the fiscal year, Mississippi revenues exceed estimates by $90 million. We exceed the estimate. So if the estimate was $20 million, we've got $110 million. And this is coming from the Magnolia Tribune, our man Frank Corder. We love Magnolia Tribune. Don't always agree with everything, but do you always agree with your spouse? It's Sweet Bee and my anniversary today. I know the Sweet Bee and I don't always get along. We have arguments, disagreements, but she's my bestie. She's my ride or die. And I will never stop bragging about the incredible prowess and beauty of the Sweet Bee. My Sweet Bee. So Mississippi revenue collections continue to outpace legislative estimates, with a November collection coming in at $20.2 million, or 3.83% above the revised revenue estimate. I truly appreciate that the numbers that were dug out here. Frank, I know you're just reporting the numbers, but I appreciate the actual data. The graph is there. It kind of shows you how the graph is going. And, we're actually doing well in some places. And in fiscal year 25 so far, it looks like the graph is kind of downsloping, but you got to remember, we're only halfway through. We still have a whole nother half of the fiscal year here to see how that goes. And what I will do is, if people who want to know about this can go ahead and hit me up at Andrew Gosser on X, AndrewGasser, right on X, and you can see what we just reported about. So people talk about, oh, Mississippi's in trouble. We're not in trouble. The whole country might be in for a rude awakening, but Mississippi right now, we are on course for getting good stuff done. I did get a text. I have to say, I did get a text asking me about where all these illegal aliens were getting these Social Security cards and the immigration, and didn't agree with the invasion. And I luckily have this piece of sound brought up, and I want to play it right now. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. They just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, Doge says
270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24, right before Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and Doge says some actually did vote. Try and square that against Democrat claims that Musk is destroying Social Security and cutting Medicaid. He's not destroying, he's weeding out people who don't qualify. Who is really guilty of misinformation in this case? It is not Elon Musk.
We like Uncle Elon here at the Andrew Gosser Show. Would you like to have Elon Musk as your uncle? Fiduciary considerations aside. Unknown texter, I know that was your first text to me, and I never like try to shame or bash anybody, but I do like talking about the immigration invasion that has happened. And you think about that. I'm just going to scroll back here. I want to see one part of this. 2021, 270,425 people got a Social Security card who weren't citizens. Do you realize that when you get that Social Security card, that opens up a whole brand new door? And the reporting right here at Fox News says that some of those people actually vote. Fiscal year 2022, 590,193 people got Social Security cards who weren't supposed to get them. Fiscal year 2023, 964,163 people got Social Security cards. And finally, in 2024, 2,095,247 got Social Security cards. Now they can go get all those jobs. They can go get jobs. They can go get license plates or driver's license. They can go get license plates. They can go get all that. It's like the key that unlocks you into the American system and the way of life that we've built for ourselves through our sons and daughters spilling their blood, whether it be here locally or overseas in some unforsaken country that no one would want to ever go to, but they did. I'll make sure I repost that on X. And that's when I talk about building the saints. That's why you need to have this information. So when someone says, "Oh, they're just here," they are here soaking up our resources, and then they remit it back to their home country. Do you know what a remittance is? Have you ever heard of that term? A remittance simply is a person who is either here legally or illegally. They take their money and they send it back to their home country. That's why sometimes you'll find these homes with 40 or 50 people living in it, and they're all making a great paycheck, and they send it back home to their families. I was watching, this must have been 2 months ago, maybe 3, and I thought I saved it. I didn't. I could probably go back and look it up, but I'm just going to juxtapose it here. On one hand, they are living in absolute horrific conditions. But they stay here for 10, 15 years, and then they go back to their country of origin where they've saved hundreds of thousands of US dollars in a country where a dollar there is like $150 here. They buy nice houses, they buy nice things, they live good. But at what price is that? Well, yeah, they spent 15 good years away from their home country, but they took away jobs from people who need jobs here. Brother William called in saying, hey, we got to get some jobs with these data centers. Well, they're being taken by people who should not be here. And not only that, but they undercut the labor market. They undercut it to where a job that should be paying $20, they'll do it for $15. And those of us who are employers, we look at that and hey, we're just trying to make ends meet. But at every single turn in this system right now, it's getting harder and harder to make ends meet. And that's why cracking down on illegal immigration is so important. We need to maximize every dollar that we have on us. Sure, we all love it when there's a natural disaster somewhere overseas, and the first thing that the local news media, not the US media, but the local country will just say somewhere in Africa, the Congo, and the first thing they show is an American C-5 landing with a bunch of relief. Who comes and relieves us when we need help? Have you ever heard of the country of Nairobi flying in supplies for us? Somalia? China? No, you don't. And that is why I am so stuck on this. And that is why I want Doge to come back. Tim Burchett, Tennessee, one of my favorite congressmen, just asked to be the chair of the Doge subcommittee. Now that MGT is out of the way. And ladies and gentlemen, if you think MGT is going away, do not be surprised. She is going to try to work back into the political system and do that. Now, if she was smart, I would just say go run her construction company and just say, you know what, I went to DC, I did the best I could, and I tapped out when I didn't want to do it anymore. There's no shame in that. But I have this sneaking suspicion, and it's just me, that she's going to audition to be the main character of the story. And we don't want that. We don't need her to be the main character of the story. We need more Americans just like you listening to this show right now. We need people like you to become the next generation of entrepreneurs, of job creators, of culture, not just jobs and economic growth, but culture, making Mississippi awesome. Notice I didn't say America. I'm not worried about what's going on in other places. I do point it out because I like to make sure that it doesn't come here. But I know I have friends in Illinois who say, you're doing a great job down there. You need to do that up here. I already tried in Illinois. I did everything I could do. There's going to be so much more to this immigration story once we really start buckling down on it and people start seeing how in some sectors the prices go up and then stabilize, or in some sectors completely go away because they were never really a sector in the first place. It was just the government propping it up with people getting Social Security when they weren't supposed to. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our last break. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. It is the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Another 2-hour show in the can, and I'm grateful for it. If you're watching online, I'm holding up a notebook, and this is the first 120 shows of the Andrew Gosser Show. I will have a new notebook come tomorrow where I'll have all my show notes, and it's where I put all my show prep. I use one page per show, and I just write it all down because show prep is important. People sometimes say, "Oh, I wish I had a show." You know what? If you are doing it right, the show prep never ends. But the show does end for the day, but we come back for the next one. And normally, we do the Sweet Bee Appreciation Show on a Friday. But with it being our anniversary, I just want to say, Sweet Bee, thank you for putting up with me, because I know I'm a handful. And married life with you is fantastic. The high times are great. The low times aren't so great, but when you're having in high times with someone you love, it's double the pleasure. And when things go south, it's half the trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't express enough how important it is to show your spouse how much you love them, and not just on anniversary. Don't forget the anniversary, guys. Make sure you got something planned for anniversary, but make sure that they understand and truly know just how much you love and appreciate them. Lives are beautiful. I'm grateful and thank you for you, Sweet Bee. You've been listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be back in just 22 hours. Take care, everyone. Be blessed.